course, the Ivy League season was canceled in 2020. No postseason tournament a year ago. So here we go. Zach Edey, the 7'4" giant, wins the tip. And Debbie, we are off and running here in Milwaukee. We've been waiting for it. How does this Yale team fare at a huge underdog role? Eric Hunter, the dribble drive, and it is kicked out of bounds, they say. Last touch by Yale.
Well, right away you see the double team to the block, and that's going to be part of the defensive game plan and scheming for Yale. You've got to turn Zach Edey into a passer, and you got to keep him from getting a deep catch because it will be impossible for them to stop him.
Now we're Sasha Stefanovic, a three-point sharpshooter. He's been struggling of late. Didn't shoot it well in their limited run through their conference tournament, but what he is on, this has been a different Purdue team. This is Matt Nolan. Good looking pass there to E.J. Jarvis, and the Bulldogs come up empty on their first trip.
Both teams in man-to-man, and what you'll see out of Yale in the first possession, they're trying to isolate inside.
Ivey's pass, broken up. Good defensive play that time by Jarvis. Ivey the kick. This is Stefanovic. He's missed his first two, and there's Edey to clean up the mess.
I mean, it's a foot fight for most post players on the inside. This is an incredible war for Zach to deal with Zach Edey. So good on the weak side glass. He just gets great real estate.
We asked James Jones, how do you prepare for something like that? He said you can't. So we thought about bringing a dump trunk to the center of the floor. Obviously that didn't work out very well. That is Azar Swain, who, Debbie, is usually the best shooter on the floor. He has become such a prolific shot maker for this Yale program.
He's made the most threes in Yale history. First team All-Ivy performer. One of the top 50 scorers in the nation. He's going to have a big number. And when they can score, they can get back and at least load up their defense.
What a shot. Ivey on a three-point jack. He is a three-level scorer. We know he can get to the basket. Incredible finisher around the rim. But that three-point stroke, Debbie, has been so impressive as he continues to develop.
Well, it's not just the size, Spiro, on the inside that Yale has to deal with. The perimeter size of Purdue is about 2 inches taller at every position.
Nolan bounces out. Gabadon now into the paint. This is Jarvis. Beautiful maneuver to get around Ivey. Then it's tipped up and in. Nolan just kind of flailed at it. And a lucky bounce for the Bulldogs. It's a one-point game. Debbie, the early moments of this game, Yale just trying to get their confidence up as the feeling out process continues. So much unfamiliarity between these two programs. Again, splash!
You don't have to go too deep in the playbook to get Jaden Ivey open. He's so good at accelerating off screens, and he makes a three, and Matt Painter goes right back to him to make another one.
Ivey, the newly minted All-American second-team selection announced earlier this week. Gabadon got himself into some trouble. Ivey the interception. Underneath pass to Gillis. Stefanovic from deep. Ivey, just a mountain of a man. And already the Boilermakers hitting the offensive board.
You got to worry about the speed of Jaden Ivey and keeping him in front. And then he can do this. Score behind a screen. Terrific screen inside, and then the acceleration and another screen. Yale's got to do a better job of getting around those screens, and they ran into 2 screens that allowed Jaden Ivey to be wide open.
Early substitution. And this is something that the Yale folks said could happen with the size that they have to deal with. Jake Lanford, who has only appeared in 4 games this season, but is one of their bigger players, actually the tallest guy on their roster. Checks into the game and will check Edey, Debbie, as they run multiple defenders and Purdue's big man. Edey, terrific position, turns, and he's going to shoot free throws.
I mean, it's almost impossible, right? What do you do, right? If he catches it that deep, he's really good over his left shoulder. He's a decent free throw shooter for a big guy at 64%.
So here's Edey, a 65% free throw shooter. And he is perfect on the first. First round coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship begins today. ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, and ESPN News. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Edey selected honorable mention All-American this week. Just crazy to think, Debbie, how far he's come. We'll get into his story as the day goes on. Could very well be the most improved player in the country. Beautiful back to the cup. Swain on the catch.
Really good job lifting the weak side, pulling Edey away from the bucket, opening up that backdoor cut.
Bez and Bang with just an exquisite pass. And a good offensive start for Yale. Here comes Ivey. Edey's fouled.
He can hurt you with the threes. Watch the acceleration off the stagger. He's going to come off 2 screens here, and then he just puts it on the floor on a long closeout. He is so dangerous because he's explosive with that first bounce. What a start for Jaden Ivey.
Early substitution. Travion Williams checks in. What a season it's been for Williams, their leading scorer and rebounder the previous 2 years before his move to the bench this season, which has been such a big part of their season. The emergence of Edey. Becky, you've got a Travion Williams coming off your bench. You're a pretty good team.
I mean, come on, he's accepted his role off the bench, as you said, Spiro, last year and the year before he was a starter. And I think it's a compliment to what Matt Painter's been able to do with a dual quarterback system, if you will, right? I mean, they produce inside.
Do they ever? Swain around the screen. Doesn't need much daylight, and he sticks it. Isaiah Thompson trying to stay with him through the screen. Swain, a really good mover without the basketball. In early stages here, the Bulldogs trying to go punch for punch with the big boys. A lot of contact underneath. As Evan Burrows makes the call. We'll get
local gym with his dad, and he says a silver lining for him was actually he was able to rest a knee he had surgery on following his sophomore year. So now he's rested, he's healed up, guys, and he's anxious to see how this Yale team will do going forward.
Incredible stories as they got word that their entire season would be canceled. Late stages of the summer, obviously threw everyone for a loop as the rest of college basketball started to come back. But AJ just mentioned Nazar, his father. There he is, Lawan. Such a close bond between those two. James Jones told us about it yesterday. He's been with his son every step of the way and has been such a source of inspiration. And Swain with a pretty good start.
Thompson was right there in his face. He just needs a little separation to get into the rhythm of his three-point attempt. Oh, good pass.
Not sure there's a better passing big man in the country than Travion Williams, dropping a dime to Thompson.
He is really fun to watch. I mean, he is a high IQ center, right? Even on the defensive end, he calls out their actions from the back of their defense. It's nice when your post players think like a point guard.
Oh my goodness. Here's Nolan backing down, shot clock at 8. Trying to refeed the post. And nicely done by Gillis to come up with the threat. Thompson. Ivey again. Young man is feeling it. It's going to be a loose ball foul. Little push in the back against Travion Williams.
This is what you love about a big guy that can see the floor so well. What a nice screen up top by Gillis to free up Thomas, and Travion Williams sees the floor like a guard.
First team All Big Ten last year, was honorable mention All-American. You tell a kid and convince a kid like that he's going to move to the bench, Debbie. That's not an easy conversation to have. But Matt Painter, he's built such a culture. He said it was barely a conversation. He bought in immediately.
I mean, I think it speaks to how much you want to win, right? I mean, this is a Purdue team that got knocked out early last year. They high expectation this year. They check a lot of boxes to be able to make a run. And you look at the bracket, and Kentucky's gone. Right. So that opens some things up.
Caleb First, the freshman, is checked into the game, comes up with a steal. Edey, what a defensive recovery. Jarvis with a denial. This is Swain probing the defense. Jarvis. Open three. Cotton on a triple.
Well, what Yale is doing a really good job of is attacking off the bounce, getting in the paint, and the perimeter shooters are relocating behind the penetration. That is an excellent look for Yale.
Matthew Cotton, the New Jersey kid, a starter for much of the non-conference. Now as a reserve. Stefanovic 0 for 4 here at the start.
I mean, Jarvis is working as hard as he can on that Zach Edey matchup. Now you got to come down this end and try to post up against him.
Swain working on Thompson. The fadeaway shot, and he buries it. And Yale with its first lead.
Azar Swain, 5 for 5 from the floor to start this game.
The Yale Bulldogs making their early statement. First, beautiful cut right down Broadway.
That's how schooled Purdue is at playing through their bigs and being able to make cuts off the double team. It's a great read by First.
Debbie, we've seen the teams coming out of the Ivy League over the last 5-10 years. Not like it used to be. These are teams that believe that they can compete on this stage and play with any program in the country. And we're seeing that early on from Yale. Gotten a little bit short on that baseline jumper.
Well, I think you want to make sure you play with a lot of confidence to start the game, right? I mean, you're not expected to win this game. Not many people have picked Yale in this matchup against Purdue. And when your best player shows up and shows out at the beginning, this is going to build incredible confidence moving forward. He's got the mid-range, he's got the back door. He can step into one off a screen. He handles, he sees the floor, and he's doing a good job of defending his position as well.
And the thing about Swain, as good as he was this year, as Ivy's first free throw is good, Debbie, he was at his best when they were playing their stingiest competition. As you see the stat comparison between the two stars in this game. But Swain, in the 5 games that they faced top 100 net teams, averaged just under 20 points per game. His shooting percentages were way up.
We had 23 in the Ivy League championship against Princeton in a 2-point win. I mean, this is what you dream about, right? An opportunity to play on this stage with your teammates. It's why you've worked so hard. And then you come out and you have early success. Now you dump the playbook on Azar Swain if you're James Jones.
Jarvis from deep. Back of the rim, front of the rim, and then the rebound by First.
Jarvis hasn't made a 3 all season.
Ivey. My goodness.
I mean, you're going to play with a cushion. You're not going to get up in his window early. Showing his range.
Debbie, that was ridiculous. That is a confident young man. No hesitation. Well, we are in for a treat with those two, Ivey and Swain. Jarvis all out of sorts, and he is just swallowed up by Edey. Ivey in the open floor, finds Hunter in the corner, gets a 3.
See, that's the value of Jaden Ivey. The push, the probe, he gets to the elbow. He makes that shot available for Hunter.
This is a top 3 team in terms of offensive efficiency in the country, according to Ken Palm, talking about Purdue, and you're seeing why. There's nothing that they can't do offensively. Dribble drive here by August Mahoney. It's a turnover, their 4th. Ivey probing. Started by Gabadon. And that pass, let's see the call here. It's going to be a traveling violation. 10 straight points for the Boilermakers as they have built a nice little 9-point cushion. Seconds ago, A.J. Ross talking with Matt Painter.
Coach, 4 turnovers right before the break here. How much has that created some momentum for you guys and given you a spark on offense?
Yeah, we got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. You see, when we get shots up, we've gotten a couple offensive rebounds. We've made some shots. Sasha's got 3 really good looks that haven't went down. So we just got to keep executing, keep getting good shots, and obviously not turn the ball over.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, AJ, great stuff. They actually had their first turnover. They've been very efficient. Debbie, what have you seen so far from both teams?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I mean, the offensive rebounding opportunity, this is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. So you don't want to turn it over. And Jaden Ivey gets sped up sometimes, but he's excited. He's playing well. I mean, he's seeking his own shot. He's capable of making plays for others.
Ethan Morton has checked into the game for Matt Painter. Longest in some big shots this season. Edey on the box. Gets it back from Newman, and so Purdue now with a couple of turnovers in their last 3 possessions.
So the one tendency that you'll notice about Purdue is when their bigs catch the ball on the right block, they're not as willing to throw the skip. You can load your defense to the strong side. Like that pass came back out to Newman, and they got a turnover off it, right? So they're much more effective on the left side of the floor when they can throw the skip or operate and facilitate from there.
Saw the hot shooting start for Yale. They've missed their last 4. And the question, Debbie, for them, aside from Swain, who else can give them some scoring? And right on cue, that is Mbang. And a pretty dime earlier and a badly needed basket to end a 10-0 run.
Well, Swain is 5 for 5. The rest of the team now 3 for 8.
Brandon Newman trying to feed the box. Poked away, but a bad break. As they say, the Jarvis stepped out of bounds. You can watch live men's games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Scan the QR code now and download. So great to have you with us. Nothing quite like yesterday and today, Debbie, in sports. First full day of March Madness.
I mean, Jaden Ivey's so excited to check in, he forgot to take his warm-up shirt off.
That's what you call locked in, Debbie.
Absolutely. That's the kind of focus Matt Painter wanted from his team coming into this event.
Little sophomore moment. Don't forgive him, as talented as he is, as Edey. And Yale still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the 7'4" giant as he steps back to the free throw line.
I mean, just look at the huddle of Yale, and then look at Edey towering over the top of the size of Yale on the floor. I mean, they don't have the ability to play big. They're very good at moving the ball and forcing Purdue to have to play on some play against some closeouts.
Debbie, just think, we mentioned how far he's come. He was the 440th rated prospect in his class. Matt Painter told us a story yesterday when he got COVID in August of 2020. Painter had to go home for a couple of weeks. When he left, he said Edey, who had just arrived as a freshman, could barely catch the basketball. When he came back after 2 weeks, he said he was a different player.
Well, he didn't pick up the game until his sophomore year of high school, so that's just a short time ago. Look what he's evolved into.
He grew up in Toronto. His first love was hockey, then baseball. And they finally convinced him at the age of 15 that hoops was his future.
Well, he was 6'2" in the 7th grade as he blocks that shot. He was 6'10" in the 10th grade.
A little bit of a growth spurt. What a shot! Mahoney's prayer is answered. Okay. See if that doesn't get the Bulldogs going. 6-point game. Some serendipity. Gillis doesn't take many shots, but he is actually one of the most efficient, statistical offensive players in the country. We approach the 8-minute mark, opening half. This is Gabadon, and he has been struggling here at the start. That's his second turnover.
Watch this play right here. Time and score, off balance, just throws it to the rim.
Just like he drew it up.
You got to have some of these plays to go in if you're going to stick around, right? Keep this thing competitive.
They called it a three-pointer, but looking at the replay, that may have been a 2. I wonder if the officials will look at that at the next dead ball. Edey. Lucky bounce for Yale as they control. We're under the 8-minute mark. It's a 6-point game. The 3-seeded Boilermakers, a team that many of the experts have pegged as a legitimate national championship contender right from the start of the season. Trying to create some space. Swain misses badly, and then it's knocked out of bounds underneath by Purdue.
For us, Azar's done a good job so far, but we need more from everybody else.
You talked about limiting Purdue's possessions, but turnovers have been hurting you guys and giving them extra chances. How do you limit those?
Well, we got to do a better job of that too, right? Like, I thought we had some senseless turnovers where we just kind of threw it right to the defense. So we got to be a little bit better. Hopefully the jitters are out and we're ready to go.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, AJ, meantime, another turnover by Yale. And that is going to result in a 1-and-1, as that is the 7th team foul. But you just look at James Jones, the culture and the program, Debbie, that he has built. 5 Ivy League championships the last 7 years, 5th time in the dance. Of course, that 2020 team that never had a chance due to the COVID pandemic. But certainly one of the most underrated coaches in the country, certainly in this tournament, as Ivy is able to build and hit on the front end. It's part cooking competition, part whodunit. 6 cooks compete. 1 cook tries to secretly ruin everyone's dish. Rat in the Kitchen. It's a new competition series, March the 31st on TBS. But you just have to be impressed, Debbie, with what he's been able to build.
There's no question about it. 3-time Ivy League Coach of the Year, a competitive team, and a very good basketball league in the Ivies.
Stefanovic hasn't been able to shoot straight yet. Williams the save, but it's taken by Swain. Bulldogs trying to fight through some turnover issues. There's Gapadon at a 3, and he continues the struggle. This was saved underneath by Jarvis, but he stepped out of bounds. And right now, Yale having some offensive issues.
Well, for Matt Painter, they're coming off that last timeout. They get a great defensive stop and a turnover. They get to the free throw line. James Jones's team has not been to the line yet in the first half. It's part of the reason why Purdue has this 8-point lead.
There's Williams, such a threat. Boy, that face-up maneuver, he can pass, he can score. Such a polished offensive player.
He's got great feet. He's got a high motor. He can score around the rim.
10-point lead for the Boilermakers. We're going to whistle here against Hunter as Swain trying to fight through some contact.
Watch the bounce by Travion right here. Catches at the elbow. Constantly looking to attack. 1 dribble move, that's all he needs. Into his floater.
There's Travion's father looking on. What a moment for that family. As we get some conversation here, Matt Painter asking for an explanation.
Well, Hunter got picked up that foul, and he was lock and trail on Swain, and he was trying to defend him and keep him from catching, and he's claiming that he got hooked.
Very tough shot for Swain, moving left, and then the offensive rebound. Gapadon, and now they'll reset. This was always the question today for Yale. Offense against this Purdue defense. Nolan, big basket as he goes, glass. Matt Nolan, a sophomore, Ellington, Connecticut native. And then they inserted into the starting lineup right towards the end of their non-conference schedule. And one of the changes that really spurred them on. Williams stepping middle.
So they've been bringing the double to Edey on the block. They play Travion Williams in single coverage. He's going to be like all day on that, especially when he can get to that left shoulder.
10-point game as we cross the 6-minute mark. Here's Gapadon trying to find some daylight. Underneath the pass. And a beautiful finish in traffic by Isaiah Kelly.
Travion Williams almost playing what looks like a one-man zone in there because he's not having to come out of the paint and defend his player away from the rim. Now they bring the double to Williams. So Yale trying to mix up their scheming defensively, but Purdue having no trouble handling playing through the double team.
Well, they call Mason Gillis their ultimate glue guy. Does a little bit of everything. He's been one of the backbones of this team. Stepping into a more prominent role as the season has gone on. Nice little soft touch. That's Nolan again.
They like that isolation with Nolan on this side of the floor.
Nolan had that slow start. We told you, reserve at the start of the year, but he's been a different player for James Jones over the last 2.5 months. 8-point game as we're under 5 minutes left before halftime. Williams. Right into the chest of the defense, and this is an offensive foul. Beautifully played by Kelly, one of the top shot blockers in the Ivy League.
He goes quick to his go-to. He doesn't even need to counter here. The little dig from the perimeter makes him hesitate. And then he dips his shoulder into the chest, and now he has got 2 fouls and has to sit. And Edey's back on the floor.
So a big call, latter stages of this first half. Can Yale capitalize as Edey comes back on the deck? Looks like Ivey took a shot to the chops. No whistle, play goes on. Got a man advantage, it's Gabadon from deep. And Gabadon now 0 for 3 from the field, all 3 of his shots from distance. Hunter trying to fend off the defender, it's on Gabadon.
You can't impede the ball handler. That's a foul. Watch Jaden Ivey. The second screen, he runs into the player he's defending, which is Gabadon. Looks like he's all right.
It's good to be young. He just bounced back from those quickly.
Hey, listen, he's tough. When your mother is Yale Ivey, and you've won a national championship at Notre Dame as a player, and you've got your team in the NCAA tournament this year, you know there's some toughness right there in that young man.
What a great story in the bond between them. Actually at practice, wrapping up as we speak, as the Notre Dame women's team gets ready to open their tournament bid tomorrow. She is certainly thinking about her boy here in Milwaukee. Edey, another offensive putback. Good start for Edey. 7 points, 6 rebounds, Debbie. 3 on the offensive glass. Here's Swain elevating. What defense by Hunter.
You're doing a much better job on Swain.
Ivey, that little hesitation maneuver. He has got so much in his toolbox in early December. Debbie, this is a legit national championship contender. And all those Boilermaker fans wondering if this is finally their year. Haven't been to the Final Four in over 4 decades.
Well, I think they check a lot of boxes, right? They've got speed on the top of the floor and playmaking ability in Jaden Ivey. They've got size on the block. They've got interchangeable length on the perimeter that can help them defend. I think this could be their year. I mean, this is an opportunity for them to really show what they're capable of doing. When you've got scoring in the middle third of the floor, which is what they have, that's really tough to defend.
Can they put it all together as they have extended their lead now? 13-point swing. Dangerous time in this game now for Yale. Able to hold it to single digits much of this first half. But right now, Debbie, their offense has gone cold. Hunter against Mahoney. Curling underneath. This is Edey, and it's just too easy. A man among boys.
I mean, you just throw it up to the rim, and he can just go up and catch it. And that's a well-designed play by Matt Painter, because you're turning the corner with your left hand and Hunter, your point guard, and you got Ivey in the corner who you cannot help off of.
Can Yale answer as we are inside of 3 minutes? Mahoney, massive shot for Yale.
Mahoney with a couple of big buckets. One with his right hand, one with his left.
By the way, that shot that he hit earlier was changed from a 3 to a 2, if you were wondering about the score change. So 2.5 to play before halftime. Ivey elevates, lost it. Edey. Just about the only thing he hasn't done right in his first half. 12-point game, 2 and change left before halftime. This is Mahoney. Nice little bounce underneath. Jarvis turns it over.
And there's the Edey effect, right? You make that play, you get in the paint, you drop it off. In the Ivy League, you score that.
This should be an illegal pick. Ivey never quite gave him a chance to get set.
Well, Ivey likes playing off these drag screens right here. I don't know about that. Maybe his feet were outside his shoulders, and that has been a point of emphasis this year in the way you set screens.
The other thing about Edey, the base that he has, you just saw his lower body. Sometimes guys at that height don't have that kind of girth below the waist, but boy, he is built solidly.
I mean, look how quickly he recovers to help on that.
Indeed. Three-pointer wouldn't go from Cotton, and then a rebounding foul here. It's on Matt Noling of Yale, and that's his first. Reminder coming up, AT&T at the half. Scores and highlights. Get you the latest NCAA tournament news. It's all coming up on AT&T at the half.
7'4", almost 300 pounds. No one else in college basketball has what Matt Painter has inside.
And everyone was surprised early in the season when it was Edey the starter. Here's Travion Williams, All-American last year. He's been their leader in scoring and rebounds 2 straight years. But Matt Painter just said point blank, Zach came in and beat him out. And obviously, everyone knows how they feel about Travion Williams. He's been such a huge piece for them. But it just tells you how far that young man Edey has come. As we take a look at our first half summary, buck 50. Debbie, what stands out?
Well, no surprise, points in the paint to the advantage of Purdue, but no free throws for Yale. You know, you can't get any easy baskets in transition. It's hard to get to the free throw line. You penetrate, but you've got either Edey or Williams waiting for you to clog up the middle.
Jake Lanford has checked back in for James Jones. Come up on the final 90 seconds here in Milwaukee. Mahoney.
Beautiful.
It's almost like he's playing horse.
I mean, beautiful. Way up above the square. You got to throw it high off the glass against 7'4".
August Mahoney doesn't mind the high degree of difficulty. Whistle blown here before the catch. You could hear the Yale bench screaming for a 3-second violation against Edey. But more free throws now for Edey and the Boilermakers.
I mean, watch Mahoney. He gets Ivey on his hip. He's got him behind, and now you just got to throw it up on the glass. Beautiful play by August Mahoney, the 6'4" sophomore.
Double bonus for Purdue. There's Zach Edey's mother. Nervous time, his mom, Julia. Has to be emotional, Debbie.
You know, but I bet it's better sitting at a basketball game than it is sitting at an ice hockey or a baseball game, because that's the two sports that Zach played before he started playing basketball in 10th grade.
Told you Zach growing up in Toronto. What a player he's become. Edey with a block.
Over-penetrate.
Never had a chance. Under a minute, 50 seconds plus. Ivey. Open three. Morton, no. Look at Edey. He is picking him apart.
I mean, you work and you try to push and battle. He's just too tough. And he's too big.
Edey and Ivey have 31 of their 46 points. And it looks like James Jones wants a timeout here with 28.9 seconds left before halftime. And his Bulldogs in a 15-point hole. Play resumes here in Milwaukee. Azar Swain actually hitting a mid-range jumper from the top of the key off the inbound. And then a quick timeout as Matt Painter, Debbie, making a couple of changes.
Well, he wants to get offense on the floor for this last possession with 13 seconds. And I think Stefanovic is going to get a touch here. But watch Mbang do a good job of driving to the paint, the fill behind. It's something that Yale does very well. It's a terrific offensive habit that they've been able to score on in this first half.
Badly needed basket, not only for Yale, but for Swain as well, who had cooled off a little bit over the past couple of minutes. Final 8 seconds. Ivey launches from deep. A little bit short, well contested by Swain. There's Cotton on the run. Would have counted as that takes us to halftime here in Milwaukee. Purdue led for basically the entire half, and it will take a 13-point lead into the locker room.
I thought Purdue did a good job of moving the ball. I think they took some questionable shots. However, I think it's a good team effort in the first half.
AJ standing by with Matt Painter.
Coach, Yale switched some things up defensively on you guys, doubling your bigs on different possessions. How well do you feel your team responded on the inside-outside game?
Yeah, I think they've done a good job. We made some simple passes. Travion found Isaiah for a layup. Zach's made some simple passes, and we should have more points. We've had some really good looks. That was a good look. Sasha Stefanovic has had 4 open threes, so we just got to make simple decisions, keep taking good shots.
During one of those later timeouts, I heard you emphasizing rebounding and getting stops. How much is doing the little things well important in this tournament?
Well, I think for us, it's not allowing them any second chance opportunities and just sticking with the details of what we want from a defensive standpoint, trying to get in transition by getting some more deflections, some getting more rebounds, and then really putting the burden on it. Zach's done a great job on the glass, and Zach's done a great job of getting deep post position.
Thanks.
27-7. They went 14-6 in the bloodbath that is the Big Ten. And sometimes those Big Ten teams get to the NCAA tournament. What a finish inside! A magic trick by Jarvis.
Look how quickly Yale accelerates through this set right here. They go right at Edey. High off the glass, Jarvis using the rim to protect himself from the shot blocker. And a smile on his face as Yale goes to the free throw line for the first time in the game.
E.J. Jarvis, the junior, unable to complete the three-point play, but to get a lucky little bounce. Exactly the kind of start that the Yale contingent was hoping for.
I would like to see Purdue lock in here. Now, in the first half, they got a 5-second count or a steal on the baseline out of bounds play.
Here's Mbang on the perimeter.
Keep an eye on Hunter. He's got this assignment on Swain for Yale.
Desperately trying to get his game going. It was a struggle of a first half for him. Former Defensive Player of the Year in the Ivy League a couple of years ago.
2 offensive possessions for Yale. 2 strong attacks at the rim. Good adjustments by Coach James Jones to get his team aggressive. Attack the Stefanovic matchup right there. Off the glass. Back-to-back buckets for Yale to start the second half.
Inbound to Gillis. Edey double-teamed quickly. No choice but to foul as he was right at the rim, point blank. Debbie, if he can get that low post contact, there's just nothing you can do.
I mean, look how deep he's going to catch it, first of all. And they do make him dribble. They bring the help, but it's overwhelming at 7'4" at the front of the rim.
Debbie, look at the numbers that Zach Edey put up this year. Nearly 15 points, almost 8 rebounds per game, over an assist a night, almost 1.5 blocks per game. He did it despite playing less than 20 minutes per game. It was amazing.
And here's the other thing is that Matt Painter has done a great job balancing the minutes between Edey and Williams. Neither one of those young men have fouled out of a basketball game all season.
Incredible.
It's impressive how hard they work to post up, how hard they work to defend the rim, and they have not fouled out of a game. So you're managing those minutes really well.
Swain trying to find his spot, and he goes last. One of the great shot makers in the country. Was a sophomore the last time Yale made it to the NCAA tournament. But he is their centerpiece, no doubt here, as Yale cuts it to 9. Ivey 18 in the first half. That's a long 2, and he sticks it.
He is so good at the hips and shoulder game. You know, he gets by his defender, and he just a little bit of bump with those hips and shoulder to keep that leverage, and then he can elevate into his jump shot.
Nolan's going to reset to Swain. Pulls it from deep. Well short. And the long rebound to Hunter.
There's a chance to push and run. Yale doing a good job of getting back.
Ivey, well, the artistry of this kid is something to behold. There's his mom, Nielle, with the Notre Dame women's team that is watching this one from their hotel in Oklahoma City, getting ready for their first-round game tomorrow against UMass.
Notre Dame women a 5 seed. UMass out of the A-10. Be a fun matchup to watch.
Mama looking awfully proud. What a start for Ivey.
Well, he comes by his point guard skills naturally from his mother.
Good genes in that family.
Yeah, and she's done a heck of a job this year with her team, getting them back to the NCAA tournament.
And one of the all-time players in Notre Dame history, coaching at her alma mater. This is Edey again, as Yale hoping for a hooking foul. But the bond between them, something that Jaden talked to us about in our conversation yesterday, grew up in South Bend, where she is such a huge part of that campus and community.
I mean, first of all, she's an incredible culture builder. She spent a year with the Memphis Grizzlies. And Jaden spent some time with her, with the Grizzlies, following John Moran and some of the other players around. When we talked to him yesterday, he talked about the kind of focus that he wanted to have coming into the tournament. How much he loves his mom. Glad she's not here because she's playing in the tournament. He doesn't want to see her in the stands necessarily. That means they're winning and they're staying alive in the tournament on the women's side.
The schedule's worked out. Jaden will be watching his mom and Notre Dame women tomorrow. Hoping that they can take care of business here. A 14-point Purdue lead. Swain, awkward looking shot. And once again, the Bulldogs one and done. Ivey is fouled here on the pass in the transition. This is going to be the third on Gabadon. As we take a look now at Close the Gap, presented by Aflac. How do they cut into this deficit, Debbie?
Well, I thought they needed to get to the free throw line. They do that in the first possession of the second half, and they've got to find some easy scoring. So not just in transition, but they've also got to be able to score on some of that situational offense, Spiro. You know, like out-of-bounds plays, after timeouts, when you sort of take the decision-making away from your team and you just have them execute a play to get a bucket.
Your best defensive player, Gabadon, has to sit. You saw 3 personals as Ivey misses on a deep 3. It's a rare miss for Ivey today. 6 of 9 from the field. He's 3 of 6 from deep. Nolan wants to work on Gillis. Pretty shot. Couldn't put it down. And the rebound knocked into the waiting arms of Ivey. Here comes the electrifying sophomore stud. And he is bumped in the transition again, as Ivey's starting to wreak havoc on this Yale defense.
I can feel the floor tilting in Jaden Ivey's direction when he's handling and motoring in the middle. And you can see the foul trouble for Yale mounting up here in the second half. Gabadon with 3.
A lot that James Jones is thinking about on that Yale sideline. Ivey off the screen. Mid-range jumper won't go. Edey again. That's his 5th offensive rebound of the day. And another whistle against the Bulldogs.
I mean, what incredible composure Zach Edey plays with. So much maturity. You know he's a target of defenses. And he rebounds with 2 hands. Every time he goes up, it's 2 hands. And that's going to be really tough to take away.
Lanford has to sit. That's his 3rd personal and already the 5th. But this is what Deb was alluding to earlier. You rarely will see them on the floor together, talking about Edey and Travion Williams. As Painter and his staff have divvied up those minutes masterfully. Stefanovic finally able to knock one down.
Look, I think he's a key, right? He has to be able to knock down catch and shoot threes. He's 0 for 5 to start the game, but he has a lot of confidence outside the arc, and he needs to keep shooting.
Gillis. My goodness. Ivey couldn't squeeze it. Gillis, no. Offensive rebound. Williams, Stefanovic. Around and in. James Jones wants a timeout. A little bit of jawing as the officials step between, as the Bulldogs start to take it on the chin. Incredible finish between Notre Dame and Rutgers. Double overtime in the first 4 in Dayton the other night.
Big buzz around this part of the bracket, right? Kentucky's out. Congratulations to Matt McMahon at Murray State for their win. That's pretty interesting. Murray State and St. Peter's playing in the bracket. I wonder how many people had that in their March Madness basketball bracket.
Turner/CBS crew. So excited to have you with us. First of 4 games here in Milwaukee. Do these Bulldogs from Yale have one more push? Haven't scored in nearly 4 minutes, Debbie. And 11 unanswered by the Boilermakers. Just can't get their offense going.
They scored the first 3 possessions of the second half. And then I think Purdue, Stefanovic hits a couple of threes. Now they lock in defensively. And I think Matt Painter might run something for Sasha right here.
I don't think there's a coach in the country that has a thicker, more dynamic playbook than Matt Painter. Here's Williams, where he can do so much with a kid of his skill set and size, but that time he throws it away. Swain. Beautiful pass. That's Nolan underneath. Can't get the bounce.
See, that play right there by Travion is the one that Matt Painter can't show him enough in film not to do, right? He stretches the trap, he gets the ISO, and then he tries to make the home run play. Make the simple pass.
That's what Painter said. He makes these unbelievable passes, then he just out of nowhere throws it to the other team. Ivey's little turnaround floater won't go, and the rebound by Nolan. There's the scoring drive for Yale. Nearly 5 minutes without a point. Little two-man action. Swain down low. Nolan off glass, missed it again.
See, Nolan's got to shoot that when he catches and not over-penetrate into the size.
This is Gillis. Just an exquisite pass. Ivey, the cutter. And this is last touch by Purdue.
Watch Travion, the best passing big, okay? He just stretched the double. Now he's got single coverage. Everyone is on the weak side. You're throwing the ball into traffic. You've got a chance to score one-on-one. Take it.
Debbie, this is your first time seeing Purdue up close this season. They've been the talk of so many of the experts around the country. What do you think? Obviously, a little bit slower early in this game, but starting to see why they have been at the top of the charts.
I see that when they want to lock down defensively and get some easy buckets this way. Like, look at that pass now. That was a spectacular pass. Look, I think Stefanovic is a great three-point shooter, so I don't worry about him making shots. I know he's going to make shots. The size is overwhelming, and it can be overwhelming at times. Jaden Ivey can get a bucket whenever he wants. Does he want to make some plays to spray it around a little bit? But defensively, that's been the question mark for Purdue, right? I mean, it's part of the reason why Wisconsin was able to sweep them in the regular season, and Wisconsin and Illinois shared the Big Ten title. Iowa wins the Big Ten tournament title.
Mid-range jumper from Kelly wouldn't go. Ivey again taking some contact, no whistle. This is Gillis underneath. Elevates, no. And the rebound by Kelly. But it's interesting that you mentioned that the defense is the question mark. This is kind of different than the Matt Painter teams we've grown accustomed to watching over the years in West Lafayette. There's a corner three from Mahoney won't go, and the rebound by Williams. But everyone in Lafayette asking, is this finally the team? They've got everything that you mentioned. Basically, every box is checked. But as Matt Painter told us, there's going to be a game in this tournament when the shots stop falling. Will we be good enough defensively in those moments?
Well, full transparency, right? I mean, he rejects the screen right there. I like Purdue at the beginning of the season.
3-second violation and another turnover.
I like them at the beginning because they checked all the boxes for me. I think Matt Painter is a genius when it comes to putting his team offensively in the right plays, positions, the right matchups, when to go ISO, when to reverse the ball. Really good in situational offense, baseline, sideline, out of bounds, after timeouts. They're deep.
Got their first ever #1 ranking early December. You can see the scoring drought right now. Starting to answer some of those defensive questions. And Yale still looking for some points. Kelly had a good look at it on the leaner as we cross the 12-minute mark, second half. Yale has missed 12 straight shots. Hunter trying to find some daylight in the defense. First, the kick. Morton feeds Williams on the box. 3 to shoot. Hunter from deep. This is first, weak side. It's on Kelly. All right, Adam, interesting score there. And Debbie, we've been talking about, everyone has, that this is the year especially for some upsets. We've already seen it. St. Peter's with a stunner last night against Kentucky. And we'll see how that one ends up as First gets the friendly little bounce.
You're the favorite seed today, and you've watched all those upsets yesterday. You definitely get your attention, right? I spoke to Greg Gard this morning when his team was working out. He's like, I don't need to say anything to my guys. The head coach at Wisconsin, they know what's going on in March Madness.
Well, Matt Painter certainly didn't have to say anything to his team. The disappointment of that first round upset that stunned them last year as a 4 seed falling to North Texas. Trying to erase that memory from their minds. Jarvis, the little dish. That was Cotton, who's well short. So we hit the 11-minute mark, second half. Purdue, the 3 seed in the East region, looking for another knockout punch. Williams, a little off balance on a leader, was falling away.
But I like to see the go-to, Spiro, not to have to counter and fool around with giving them time to bring a double.
Whistle here against Ethan Morton, trying to fight through the screen. And that'll be his second. And only the second team foul against the Boilermakers. Well, the best of the NBA go head-to-head in pursuit of winning a championship. Don't miss a moment of the NBA playoffs beginning in April on TNT. Here's Azar Swain, top scorer in the Ivy League for much of the season, just under 20 points per game. Maybe just get the sense he's going to have to go on some kind of a run here, just even put them within striking distance. Stefanovic misses badly. Fight for the rebound, then it's knocked out of bounds underneath by Purdue.
Purdue's defense, we were talking about it. I mean, they've held Yale to 6 points here in the second half, but you look at their offense, it's part of the reason why there's such a good ball control tempo on the offensive end. You don't see them trying to break very often off of rebounds. The points per possession, the best they've had all season today here against Yale.
Well, the only silver lining, we mentioned the upset that they suffered to North Texas last year, was that they returned all 5 starters, preseason top 10 ranking for the first time in a number of years. Actually, first time in more than a decade that that's happened. Or have they answered the bell? All the high expectations that they've had. And they're showing the country right now that they are indeed a legitimate national championship threat.
Well, and I think they've done a really good job on the leading scorer for Yale and Azar Swain, who had 13 first half points. He only has 1 basket here in the second, so multiple defenders in that matchup for Purdue.
Second leading scorer in the Ivy behind Penn's Jordan Dingle. But Swain actually led the Ivies in total points this season. Across the midway point of the half, Swain, terrific defense by Morton. Jarvis, tough fadeaway shot. Boy, how badly did Yale need that basket, but they're still down 22 points. Debbie, the other thing about Purdue in a year where the transfer portal was so crazy, they don't have a single transfer on their roster. Incredible familiarity as First, the talented freshman with a 3-point jack.
How about First adding to that depth, right? And to your point, culture, a winning formula. You already have what you think you need, so you don't want to change the chemistry of what you have, and that's exactly part of the reason why Matt Painter decided not to take any transfers this year. Now, that doesn't mean he won't take any next year. This meant that this year with this group of young men.
We see a lot of high-profile teams go the transfer route, as so many teams did this year around the country, and the chemistry wasn't there. Either it took too long, but chemistry within this group has been on point from day one. And as August Mahoney readies himself at the free throw line. You can watch live men's games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Scan the QR code now to download.
Straight from the outside. 1.
So 9:06 left to play second half. Here's Mahoney.
We were talking about the app this morning.
Yes, we were. It's fantastic.
Ross was talking about with CBS how he's been watching the app and his travels from site to site.
No better way to keep tabs on the tournament. Everything at the touch of a finger. Good job by our studio crew keeping us abreast. What a pass. Williams. Boy, he's the kind of guy, Debbie, you want to play with.
I mean, he sees the floor like a guard. He's unselfish. He's a willing passer. He can dominate one-on-one on the block. And when you bring a double, he can read the defense. Tremendous at throwing the skip pass over the top of the defense.
And this is a Yale turnover as Cotton stepped out of bounds. But the vision of this kid as he finds the cutting Thompson underneath is something to behold.
Now look at that corner right there between the sideline and the three-point line. There's 17 wood panels, okay?
And you count those, right?
I count them every gym I go in because everyone, every game, somebody steps out of bounds in that deep corner. You've got to have the right footwork down there.
Your fascination with court dimensions is quite impressive.
It's all about space. You know. Got to evaluate, calculate space.
I'm impressed. Jarvis deep, corner two, got it. So we crossed the 8-minute mark. It's a 24-point Purdue lead. And they have been on cruise control here since about the midway point of the first half. Stefanovic, Williams. Unable to complete the dunk, but he will shoot free throws. Yeah, 74-48. As Purdue just a couple of minutes away from a trip into the round of 32. There's Travion Williams at the line, 1-1. Williams on the season, just a 58% free throw shooter. They'll get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament at ncaa.com.
Coach Ivey.
Still hanging out.
Coach Owen in the background, giving us a wave.
Told you they're watching this one from their team hotel in Oklahoma City as they ready themselves for Notre Dame's first-round matchup tomorrow against UMass.
Coach Owens looks like she's at the game with her popcorn in her bag, right?
Enjoying some downtime before their bid begins tomorrow. There's Jared Boulakidas. We got a Greek on the floor.
Hey!
Well, Debbie, this is the hard part for James Jones. It's such an incredible run. We touched on the culture that he has built, but now the finality of the end here potentially. You see what they've done. Last 7 years, 5 Ivy League championships. Looks like they're going to finish 1 win shy of what would have been a third straight 20-win season, something that's never happened in their program history. And James Jones has been the architect.
James Jones is a first-class guy, well respected by his peers in the game. Coached with USA Basketball on the U19 team. Actually coached Jaden Ivey when we talked to him yesterday. I mean, he loves his guys. He cares about them. And this is when it starts to hit you as a head coach when you look out there on your seniors. You spend so much time developing these young men on and off the floor.
All you need to know about the career he's had at Yale, there's only one man in the history of the Ivy Leagues that has more coaching wins than James Jones, and that's the legend Pete Carrill. What a run it's been for him. They just did not have enough here against this talented Purdue team. Little scoop attempt by Noling won't go, and then first is knocked to the floor. You can watch CBS Sports HQ for the best coverage of the big dance. Catch tournament highlights, picks, previews, recaps, and much more on the free 24/7 Sports News Network. Download the CBS Sports app to watch today. So 2 shots here, double bonus. Caleb first back to the free throw line, a freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
He has had a productive first showing in his NCAA tournament. Offensive rebounds. Hits a 3. Now he's going to the line.
First showing, huh? I see what you did there, Deb. He's a young man who came in, tons of accolades. Indiana Mr. Basketball last year as a high school senior at Black Hawk Christian. Matt Painter has recruited so well in the state. Of course, Painter himself, Indiana born and bred, grew up in Muncie. His mentor, Gene Cady, Actually spending some time in West Lafayette this week. Katie, the architect of so many great Purdue teams over the years. They're still very close.
Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated wrote a magnificent piece about Matt Painter this week. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, you should. And it's about his offensive mind and how hard he works and some of the stumbles that Purdue has had in the NCAA tournament and why this year it could be different for them.
Williams again, that time to Morton. They reset to Thompson. Newman's pass taken, Gabadon. That's just the kind of day it's been. Gabadon had it. And a jump ball favors the Bulldogs. Well, don't miss the explosive new season of Snowpiercer. Set your DVD and catch new episodes Monday at 9 on TNT, or you can binge episodes anytime on demand and on the TNT app. Both coaches will start to empty their benches.
Oh, we're supposed to get some snow.
Yes, we are.
The good thing is it's 70 degrees in the gym all the time.
Well, we landed. It was spring-like weather here early this week, but that is about to turn. Nice round of applause by the Purdue contingent. Travion Williams' day is over. And the Boilermakers will start making preparations for that round of 32 matchup here against the winner of Texas and Virginia Tech, which is game 2 of our quadruple header.
So again, the center position for Purdue, we talk about sharing time between Edey and Williams. 30 points combined, which is an excellent effort on the inside, getting to the free throw line as well. And then Edey has 9 rebounds and Williams has 10. So 19 combined rebounds as well. Remember, they're coming off a combined 25 and 25.
Okay, but it looks like there's an issue with the jersey of Yusuf Basa'ama, the young freshman from Ghana. Looks like they're going to give him someone else's shirt. It's his own jersey, rather. And Basa'ama's going to get his first run here with 2 and change left.
I think he had a different color shirt underneath than the rest of his teammates, and the NCAA needs all uniformity there.
The uniform police are here.
Yes. James Breeden is an excellent official. He's on top of it. Multiple Final Fours.
So both coaches now giving some of the young players a chance. Carson Barrett among those who have checked in for Matt Painter. And Jared Wilburn on the floor as well. Barrett's going to reset. And he's turned back. Basa'ama with a rejection. That's a shot clock violation and a basketball back to the Bulldogs.
Good defense by Yale. But, you know, if you're Purdue, this is what you want to have happen with the last 2 minutes of the game, as you get a chance to empty your bench and get some guys a chance to get some March Madness minutes.
What a stroke by Swain. Debbie, who knows what the future holds for that young man. What a career it's been. The senior, Brockton, Massachusetts.
He's a finance major. He's an entrepreneur already.
Open look at a 3, not that time for Barrett. Sophomore from Lafayette. Local kid, grew up not far from practice. There's Azar's father, Lawan. And as James told us in their conversation yesterday about the bond between those two and some of the emotions now of seeing his son come off the floor potentially for the last time as a Yale Bulldog. But Swain grew up in a single-parent home, raised by his father. And the one thing his father wanted was that Azar go to Yale, get an economics degree, and have a better life than he did growing up. And boy, what a proud, emotional moment for Azar and his father. Last 4 games for Swain. What a run he had through the month of March. That'd be as big a reason as anyone else why the Bulldogs are at this moment.
All-time 3-point makes in the history of Yale. He's had a fine career. for James Jones. And he smiles. That's the way you want to see. You leave it on the floor, young man. What a day.
As AJ told us, Azar and so many of the players on this team last year, all the uncertainty, didn't know that they'd ever get a chance again to get back to this stage. And what a season he had to get them back into the dance. Final 53 seconds. There's the steal, Gorham. Off balance, able to regather. Basa Ama back underneath and contact. So this is where the Boilermakers sit in our baby bracket. Again, they will advance to take on the winner between Texas and Virginia Tech. Debbie, what a matchup that's going to be between those two.
Coming up next, Virginia Tech with a run through Brooklyn in the ACC Tournament Championship for the first time as an 11 seed in the NCAA Tournament. And here you see him in the background. There's Storm Murphy. Always got the ball in his hands getting ready. They're a very good offensive team. And then Texas, what an incredible job Chris Beard has done in his first year getting this Texas team to the NCAA Tournament. And a ferocious defense. You talk about tough and gritty. This is going to be a fun one.
We are looking forward to that one coming up. Game 2 of our quadruple header here in Milwaukee. There's the steal. That's DK up the floor, off the thefts. And more free throws. 19.4 seconds left. You see Painter and James Jones having a little conversation as they walk towards center court. So much respect between those two. Spent some time together before the game. Debbie, we've seen some tense moments between coaches at the end of games with fouls and some extracurriculars.
Not these two guys, right? Mutual respect, sharing a laugh.
A terrific run for James Jones and Yale. It's going to come to an end here in Milwaukee. A team that had actually been competitive their last 3 NCAA tournament games. But this Purdue team just had too much. Yale's season will end a 19-12 record. But the Ivy League champs see their run come to an end here in Milwaukee. The Boilermakers are moving on into the round of 32.